Hello and welcome to an Echo of Glory, or Ec Home of Glory. Yeah, we're working on a title for these kind of off-the-cuff videos. Not the usual lot, I'm sorry, I'm sure you're sad. It's been a while since you've heard from me. A bit of news, I got a new job, if you're following what was going on with me in the last few months. So yeah, been a bit busy, but I am back and keen to give you some content. We have someone new today, a friend of mine, Cyrus. He goes by Hotspur Hooked on Twitter. Do you want to introduce yourself? He was on Twitter as Cyrus, but it changed to Hotspur Hooked because I don't know. You didn't want your friends.
I was really hooked on a Hotspur. I'm happy to be here, James. To be honest, basically on the best night of the summer. Would you say?
Relief, if anything, but yeah, why not?
maybe, yeah.
But yeah, we want to talk about Xavi Simons, the new big signing at Spurs. Bit of a shock. We've managed to fall upwards. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, considering the names that have gone through the entire summer, how long we've spent just like sat on a name and then, we're closing, and then we've gone to another name. I feel like we've somehow ended up with probably what was the best option at the beginning, but maybe didn't seem too available to us at the beginning, maybe.
I just want to get the chat up because obviously at Echo of Glory we always talk to the audience. So we are not expecting loads. We've got 15 people watching right now. Robert has called it Echo of Glory Bedtime Stories, which is made me chuckle, in all honesty. But hopefully we get a few more on because hearing from them what they think of the Simons signing will be great. Because I think it's going to be a lot of mixed emotions. It wasn't, I don't know about you, but it wasn't very easy for me just to be thrilled about this because don't want to really talk about them, but obviously the failed Eze and the failed Morgan Gibbs-White deals for different reasons. It was hard to get excited.
You can also throw in there Nico Pats. I mean, it was a very brief saga, but like there was that night where people were like, "Oh, we're really pushing." Oh no, and it was like instant straight up. Oh, we should have really seen this coming considering the Real Madrid links. But yeah, I think it took a minute. I mean, I basically just went, "Yeah, this isn't happening" because of the Chelsea link. It was just like, forget this.
And that was the same with Paz. Like Real Madrid were always there, and it seemed like a non-starter. But we have to remember, if a club gets so far as to verbal offer or even bother to do it, you would have had some assurances. So I don't blame us for trying. I definitely did on Twitter at first. I'm like, what's the point? But we must have had some assurances that there was a chance it would have gone through, as we did with Eze, as we did with Morgan Gibbs-White.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, the thing is I put this out on Twitter myself. I was saying people have a meme and have a go at Spurs, being like, "Oh, we tried," and I get it. Trust me, I've been there through all of them where we've been sat there like, "Oh yeah, we tried bid of the window," but if we just sat here and we were like, "Oh yeah, we're just gonna go get Paqueta," I would have been just like, "Well, you would accept it because of how we've tried for others." But I'd rather have gone for Xavi, even if he ended up going to Chelsea and then gone and got Paqueta. He would still be there.
Well, I commented in a couple of group chats in the last couple of days that I think Xavi Simons was. We were having this discussion, by the way, off stream. What do we call him? I'm not calling him Xavi. I'm not calling him Simons. I'll call him Xavi Simons.
It's what rolls off the tongue at the time. I just called him Xavi, and as soon as I did it, in the back of my head, I was like, hey, he's not Xavi.
No,
it's okay.
It's hard.
It's hard. I mean,
I
mean, we have the pleasure of having the issue, right?
Yeah, of course. Okay, maybe Xavi will manage us one day if he sorts out his career and gets good.
He was literally linked this summer very briefly before Frank.
I think Xavi Simons might have been one of the first choices behind Morgan Gibbs-White earlier in the window because I feel like early in the window or towards the end of the season, you get a little. The links are all over the place, but you do get kind of a window into where you think the club's going to go. So we knew about Kudus and Buemo Semenyo early. We knew that. We knew we wanted a right winger. we heard about Palhinha and also Norgard a little bit. We knew we wanted a 6. And obviously fans have been going on about how we need like a more passing 6 for a while. I still think we do, but Palhinha is... we've definitely needed some solidity in midfield. But then around attacking midfielders, there was Gibbs White. But even before Gibbs White, because that came out of the blue, it was Xavi Simons. And Eze probably.
I think the timings are really interesting as well, because while we were going for Kudus and Wemo and whoever else for the right winger, Semenyo, as you said, there were little talks of Xavi Simons. And obviously you could argue, maybe we were looking at him as like a wide option as well. Somebody who could play both as an attacking midfielder and which I guess Kudus is also that. Although I wouldn't want to see him at cam now. I definitely want to see him on the wing. But it feels like they were overlapping a bit. And then we got Kudus, and then instantly obviously the next day it was Morgan Gibbs White. And with it, like around about a week before he signed his new deal, when we were still sat in limbo, and every single journo was like, I see no way where this doesn't end up with him at Spurs, because it's unprecedented, right? Obviously, there's been a few things like Suarez, etc., but not to this level. And it was about a week before he signed his new deal where Chelsea really pushed their interest for Xavi Simons. Almost called him Xavi. And I think that's the moment where we then were like, we were thinking we're going to get Morgan Gibbs White, and then Xavi, he's going to go Chelsea.
It was rumbling on for the best part of over the last month, or even longer. They want 2 or more players of similar quality in every position because they can, and they've got Blue Co and all that rubbish, which we don't like. You just said Chilwell's going to Blue Co. It's a sentence that makes my skin crawl. Buonanotte is going to either Chelsea or Strasbourg. Is news I saw it.
In CISO, or how we pronounce it.
Yeah.
He's also going.
It's so
names.
Rank. And they've got Gittins and Esteval for one wing, but they know Garnacho, then Neto and Esteval, because Esteval goes to the right, and they want Palmer and then someone to be a deputy to Palmer.
Who would have been Simons, yeah.
But can you imagine Xavi Simons being a deputy to Palmer? It's the same kind of thing with Eze. When I spoke to some friends that are Arsenal fans, they were like, yeah, want him, but also he doesn't necessarily have a nailed-on starting spot here. He'd be better off at you guys. Same with Xavi. Xavi definitely didn't have a nailed-on starting spot at Chelsea, but with us, with Maddison and Kulusevski's long-term injuries, then... obviously with us.
I think Xavi even more so. I think with Eze, I think the reason that a lot of Arsenal fans were saying, I think, he doesn't quite is a nailed starter, is because in their heads, they were like, we're going to get Rodrigo or we're going to get Rafa Leao. That's all I've been seeing all summer. I've had co-workers that have literally been, I've sat across a guy who every day is just going on and on about Rodrigo, because he's also a Real Madrid fan, because of course, why wouldn't you be? I'm like, when did you pick your team? I was like, funny enough, it's a certain year where they were both very, very good. And so I think when they were saying I don't think Eze starts for us, it's because in their heads they're like, we're going to get this top left wing.
Yeah.
And then they go and give Trossard a pay rise. Not even an extension of contract. That is the strangest deal.
Was it not an extension?
Zero extension. It was just a pay rise. And I guess confirming that he's staying.
So I think just some comments we have from fans. I think you need to move your mic a little closer to your face as I've got you up, Max, but you're quite quiet.
Right, I'll move over here.
Let us know if that's better, guys. Sorry about that. This is obviously a new thing for us at Echo Glory. We hope to bring you a bit more content as we can, and thus, that involves the quirks of technical issues at home.
Yeah. The good thing I haven't been talking loads. Let me know if that's any. It doesn't like to go any. I'll probably just have to stand a little bit closer when I speak. But do let me know if there's any better.
We will try and work this out for next time. And please let us know what you think of Xavi Simons or any questions you have for us. I was really surprised in the last couple of days, and I don't know. I've already said that I didn't really get my hopes up. I'm quite thrilled now. It's as Mohammed says in the chat. It is a statement signing. We were talking before, and you were like, when was the last time we'd done this? When was the last time we got a young player in their 20s who's played, I don't know, he played 2,000 minutes last season, and he's probably played nearly 10,000 minutes or more in his career already, and he's been a wonder kid since he was 12. This is not what we do, is it?
Not at all, not at all. And I mean, I was saying to you that like we've signed like top level players that can improve the starting 11, but it's always been like, for instance, Maddison, and Maddison is one of my favorite signings of recent years. The price of it, the age they came in, everything about it, how he went straight in and was part of the leadership group, loved it. Imagine if he was just 2 years or 3 years younger. That's how this feels.
Yeah.
That's exactly how this feels. And I think the price is also very good. I know his wages are very high. And obviously, if he stays for the full 7 years on the same deal...
Well, we don't really know if his wages are high, but we can allude his wages are probably high. You know.
They're not low.
They're not low. No. This guy's been Barcelona. He's been in Barcelona Academy. PSG bought him. He's been PSG first team. He's played in the Eredivisie at PSV. He was on loan and then only officially bought by Leipzig in January. He was on loan for a season and a half. This is a statement. This is not something we do, and I think it's even more of a statement than say Eze would be, because again, he's peak age player. He's probably around the best he'll ever be. He's probably at his
very Maddison
peak now. Very Maddison. You're right, and I'll let you say the quote you said to me that I absolutely loved in the week.
Oh, I mean, it doesn't really apply to Maddison, but it was saying, oh God, and now I'm going to have to remember what my quote was. But I was basically saying that Tottenham are the big fit, what is it? We're top of the food chain for average players.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is that there's so many players that we sign that this is as far as they're going to go.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean they're bad.
No, not at all. And you need those.
Yeah.
You need those as well, because those are the ones that stick around and they, no matter what, and you can depend on them. But then you need, like, I think you said yourself, QT Romero a few years back. That was probably our biggest, like, push. And even he'd only had that 1 year. So,
yeah.
You know,
he played senior football for a while at that point. Yeah, but like Basuma as well. Basuma's an example of this, I think, and it's not quite worked out. Bentancur maybe, even though I think he's had times where he's performed exceptionally, and I think he's had times where he's not performed as well. I think he started this season pretty well. Van der Ven was a bit of a punt, I think as well. Like, you know,
he was the second choice to tap Sober for a long time.
Yeah, well, we seem to have strung that along together. Hit Tapsoba and Van der Ven before we decided that was very Paratici, and then Gabanini.
Was definitely more established.
Oh, absolutely.
And so that was like a lot of fans, especially for a centre back signing, when we were talking about pairing him with Romero. A lot of fans wanted Tapsoba because they wanted somebody who was a guaranteed starter, and they hadn't seen Van der Ven enough. So I do get it, but I'm very happy we got Van der Ven instead.
We're definitely I think we're flexing a bit this summer, really, when you look at our transfers, because when was that? We haven't signed someone from West Ham in ages, and we bought one of their top two players. You can argue if Bowen or Kudus who's better. We were linked with Gibbs White, who was he's got a release clause. Let's go get the best player at an improving club and take him away. And he's like 24, 25. And now Xavi Simons and the pursuit that looks probably like it's failed of Savinho, which is, look, there's a 21-year-old who's played 2 seasons at the top level in football at Manchester City and Girona, and we've gone, we'll pay nearly 100 million, we'll pay 70 million pounds for this winger and take him from not the reigning champions, but previous champions of Man City. Like that's not Tottenham business. It has been different in at least our target. So that's probably why it's been so painful, because our hopes have been skyrocketed. And then we've, unfortunately, up until today, been brought down. And this is refreshing. Lordy says he's saying people compare this to Van der Ven or Klinsmann. Not Van der Ven, Van der Vaart and Klinsmann. And he said he isn't. He just isn't. And that's fair enough. But it's huge in a different way. he's young and has a high ceiling for sure, but it's not young and has a highly ceiling like Bergvall. Or it's young and has a high ceiling, but they're nearly at the roof.
I would say, if I could think of somebody who was of maybe a similar age, maybe not quite as established, but still played a few seasons, I actually think Pedro Porro might be the next like more complete younger player we've signed, because he came straight in. And don't be wrong, I understand he had a rough start, and as everyone does at Spurs, and everyone still they forget it every time. They're like, oh yeah, Kulusevski, he's terrible, and then it's just like, oh, you're wrong. And then it happens every time. And Porro still, I think, he was about that level, close. I think obviously Simons is still more of that like stratosphere player.
Yeah.
But I mean, Porro, he's pretty much the best right back in the league now.
He's up there for sure. I still defensively could be found out, but he's much better than he used to be. Absolutely. I've always likened Porro to Trent, and I don't think there's much in there. Better defensively than Trent. No. Probably not as good creatively as Trent, but he's up there. Oh yeah, absolutely. Lordy says the deal reminds him of Tell, and I think you'll get pelters for that, but I completely understand where you're coming from. Super exciting young talent at Bayern.
I'm actually I'm a unapologetic fan of Tell.
Me too. And we'll see him. Yeah. The other Echo guys aren't necessarily, and that's fair enough given what we've seen of Tell so far.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get all the criticism, but I also even the sub appearance at PSG. I still don't think it was 100% down to him. I think he was.
Oh no, we were dusted at that point. We were so tired.
Yeah, and we went, oh, we're just going to sit back, and that there was no point in subbing him on. You may as well sub on another defender.
Yeah, and he was so hyped before we get him. Tell is so Son to me. Left wing can got absolutely unbelievable ball striking. Can do it off both feet. Like he's a talent to be nurtured for sure. So Russell Emberson thinks this might stifle Bergvall. It's not potential, I guess it was potential. And I get where you're coming from. I don't think the Xavi Simons signing hurts him because they don't play the same position. Bergvall is more of that box-to-box 8 with creative flair. But Bergvall already looks like he's fallen behind Sarr and Gray in the thinking of Thomas Frank.
Mm-hmm. I think Sarr has... I mean, I already thought Sarr was going to be a player that Frank loved. But I wasn't sure how he was going to fit.
I didn't expect him to perform this well so quickly.
No. I didn't expect him to be, because I didn't expect him to be playing attacking midfield, because I thought that we would find someone. But the thing is I think he's just placed Bergvall as our 8 for now, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I love Bergvall. I just think that you can get if you have him having cameos off the bench, and I mean they played together, albeit obviously Sarr was at attacking midfield against Burnley with Archie Gray, and I loved that. I loved
seeing that. That was a shock. So but having it about you to do that, Thomas Frank doing that was impressive, and there's so much energy in that midfield. You've got good dribbling and passing ability from Bergvall and Gray. You've got energy all over the place, and they're young, and Burnley was the perfect game. That midfield would, I might be exaggerating, but that midfield 3 would absolutely walk the championship. Let's not lie.
Yeah. I don't want to speak ill of a previous manager, because I do still have a lot of love for Ange. There is no way in hell that man was ever going to play those 3 kids together, because this is
a safe space to slag off Ange Postecoglou. It happens a lot.
The other thing I wanted to say, which is about Xavi, and it does kind of come under Ange because it's based off of last season and the season before. And it also could be down to the fact that Maddison's been injured on and off about 6,000 times. Xavi Simons finally gives us a player who, like Jack Grealish, drives into the box and gets fouled.
Yeah,
it's not a coincidence that in the last 2 years we have had basically 3 penalties the whole season.
Well, that's funny you say that, because we statistically, I think we completed the most. We attempted the most dribbles in the league last season and had the worst completion rate. And I don't think that it's a accident that the players we've been linked to, the big ones, so the completion of Kudus, the links to Gibbs White, Eze, Savinho, and now signing Xavi Simons, I don't think it's a coincidence that all of those players have really good take-on completion. Xavi Simons is more of a rounded player, whereas I think Eze is full-on all about take-ons. Gibbs-White is more rounded as well. But you'd expect... It's just more technical players in the team and physical players as well.
If I'm not mistaken, and I might be, and I'm going to have to fact check this later, I'm pretty sure that Xavi Simons was in like the top 5 for most fouled in the Bundesliga. I saw something earlier. have a little.
But he's.
I mean, also find out.
He's not too small though. Let's not get it twisted because that makes it sound like he's just going to get fouled like all the time. He's got that low center of gravity, a bit Modric-y, big legs you want when you're small. Like Brian Hill's size, like height, wasn't the problem. It was the fact that it was built like a twig. Yeah, his frame was bad. Whereas you can have, there's plenty of small players that do it in the Premier League, and there has been for a while.
Maddison was one of our most fouled players, and I wouldn't say Maddison is like too weak to be an attacking midfielder. I think he's about right.
No, I think it was a worry when Maddison joined. Like, how much does he get stuck in? And I think we've seen that Maddison absolutely will do that.
And unfortunately, Maddison, and maybe it was because of our midfielders or because of the system. Last year, all he had to keep doing is dropping deep and progressing play. And so
that's what we want. But we do want that still. So this is a comparison that's really important when you look at Damsgaard. Xavi was in the 92nd percentile for fouls drawn last season in the Bundesliga. So yes, he gets a lot of. Maybe not the most. Well, no, it might be the most in the Bundesliga. I can't check that, but that is high in top 5 leagues. But yeah, like the thing is, Damsgaard is who we have to mirror this on, because we're playing a 4-2-3-1 as much as so many other creators are bugging me by saying we're playing a 4-3-3 all the time, and I think all they're doing is looking at FootMob or SofaScore or something, because it's not the case.
It's off last season as well.
Yeah, it's it's not the case. There's flexibility and there's rotations, but there has been quite clearly defined that we want a player jumping up to press with the striker in a 4-4-2, and then in possession occupy the kind of the middle attacking space. I don't really get that. But Damsgaard was tasked with, at Brentford, dropping deep, dictating play, getting into the box, he got like 10 assists last season, one of the highest amount of assists in the league. If and I've said this a lot, if Damsgaard, with arthritis in his spine and his skinny self, has the physical ability to handle the Premier League. Don't get me wrong, it's taken him years. I don't think that's an adaptation period. Again, he has arthritis in his spine and he's struggled with it. Like, that's why. I think Xavi is going to be fine. Also, great point, Xavi was up there for pressing stats. Absolutely, he's in a Red Bull team. Red Bull teams are built off the Ranić model, and they are told to press like mad. If you go to a Red Bull team and don't press, you're not playing.
It's because they have to hit 5 Red Bulls for every game. Every single time.
Why Jamie Vardy's never signed for them, I don't know.
Oh, it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, that's why I thought he might sign for Leeds at one point, because I was just like, you might get a case of it every week.
You can have your red wine and Red Bull before a match like he always does. I don't know what he does. Probably red wine after and an espresso and a Red Bull beforehand. I don't know.
That man hates us. I'm glad that he's not going to be in the Prem next season. I was in the stadium when he scored, and oh my god, this guy. Great striker, but they're the ones that you don't particularly like.
So there's been some talk about Xavi Simons playing left wing. Even Frank mentioned his number 10 and left wing, where he's played, and we can kind of look at his time at Leipzig, where they play a 4-2-2-2, or the fancy name for a 4-4-2, and he did operate off that left wing. He doesn't really stay there though, does he?
No, but okay. So I know we're gonna have to go into what Leipzig do, but there is almost zero chance that we're gonna go and play a guy who is our only attacking midfielder that we've signed specifically because we have an injury or 2 injuries in attacking midfield, and be like, you know what? The left wing, where we got three options at the moment, if you count Johnson, Yeah, that's the spot.
So I've
But
got
yeah, you're right. They didn't play him. They played him in like a it's almost like a what do they call it on Football Manager? Like a mezzala, where they or is it when they go and play like a false winger?
the Metzala, yeah. I mean, Metzala I always thought was the term for like a box-to-box midfielder that goes wide. Like, I think Bentancur played that a lot for Juve. We're getting really technical with the
We're getting
terminology.
into Football Manager nonsense,
But
guys.
yeah, absolute nonsense. Hey, I like a singular word that describes what a player does, and so Metzala, or I think the English translation has been half winger.
Yeah, that one works. That sounds
But
nice.
but I'm not. But he normally they start in the middle and go out wide. He's kind of doing the opposite. I would liken his role at Leipzig, that Spurs fans will understand, to Eriksen's role under Pochettino when we would have Son, Ali, Dele Alli, and then Eriksen on the right, because Dele would be very much flicks in and around the box, get in the box for goals and link up play, but Eriksen was floating all over the place. Simons does that. He floats all across the midfield. He makes driving runs into the box. He plays really intelligent passes. If you've watched any clips of Xavi Simons, he plays an outside the boot pass a lot. Like, he might be very right-footed. He's got the outside the boot. Hey, one of the best players to ever play for us, which I likened this to, if we signed Modric from ourselves, that would be like signing Xavi Simons. Modric was very right, one-footed, but he could do more with the outside of his foot than most people with the left or their main foot. Xavi's kind of the same. And yeah, so he would operate off that left wing. Huh?
He's not Lamella. He's not going to go and sit there and hit a Rabona. Like, he's not that one-footed.
Hey, no. Hey, if you've watched the first Xavi Simons comp I watched, he did a Rabona cross.
I know he did a Rabona cross. I know that's fine. Like, but no one. He's not going to shoot like that. Come on,
he might.
I mean, maybe he will, and then he'll forget being.
I want that. Like flair. He talked about flair. I think it's a bit audacious for him to talk about himself and say flair, but it's. He obviously has it. He's definitely got confidence in himself. Mohamed says a lot of his heat map is pivoted to the left, actually. And yeah, that will be the case because that's his starting position. Mm-hmm. He still needs to occupy that space. He's still going to receive a lot of his touches in that space. But he was allowed license to roam. He's not going to occupy. He's not going to act like Nusa, who, this is an old match, but Nusa occupies the right side now. Nusa's more of a winger.
The one thing that was interesting is that a lot of his defending, when he's like tracking back, he would defend like he's a winger. That's the only thing that would also explain a lot of the heat maps, is that whenever they were having to defend, the way that they would defend is he wouldn't defend any of the centre, he'd go wide and cover the man there. So that happened a lot. So you will see a lot of trending that way. But at the same time, where do you remember Maddison? Again, I know it's a different coach. So it's slightly irrelevant, but you can almost liken it to if you expect him to play like a player. A lot of what Maddison did when he tracked back, or he would start from the bottom left, like literally right next to a Doggy or Spence, and then would move up the pitch. So if Maddison did that last season, and we still didn't feel like he was fine and he was good and he wasn't spending too much time at left wing, then we should be even better off now. Like we're under the better system. Well, different system. We'll see if it's better. I think
it's better. I think it's better. The pressing is already so much better. We had all up. Oh my god! But our players don't have to sprint 30 yards anymore or 50 yards to press someone. John McKenzie was on the show last season and pointed this out, and I was like, I never stopped noticing it. And then the first thing I've noticed in the first few games under Frank is there are pressing traps, and we're not. Pragmatism doesn't necessarily mean defensive. We're just tactical. And sometimes we're deep. Sometimes we're in a mid-block. Sometimes we're high. And that is fantastic. And the football's still pretty nice to watch thus far because we have good players.
There's only one thing that I've noticed in all the games we've played so far, because this player has started all 3 games. Pedro Porro is definitely being held back slightly from like pushing forward for a crossing position, because the amount of times I've seen him receive the ball in an area where right now all he wants to do is drive forward and try and look for a cross, and I've seen him just like holding onto the ball and like moving slightly more inwards to the midfield, and then Kudus has gone to the right. Now, don't get me wrong, that clearly would work, because if you look at Richarlison's goal, the incredible one against Burnley, that's created on the right side by Sarr playing in Kudus, and then he crosses it straight in. So it's not a problem, but like, I don't know. I really liked it when Pedro Porro would get forward and just absolutely whack it.
I think Pedro Porro is going to be tasked with a lot of deep crosses, because Frank liked that at Brentford. Crosses from not necessarily where Kudus was crossing for those goals. And we can back Richarlison to have it. And you can imagine Xavi Simons being able to do that on either side. I'm just going to put up an FB. I know you can't see this side, but I'll try and explain to you as best as possible. As I say, we're still working out the kinks with this system. A comparison to Damsgaard from last season, who is probably they're going to play a similar role. And I think it's quite interesting. I think there's a key thing here is progressive passes is something that we've lacked in the squad, and why a lot of people wanted a 6 that played them. Because at the moment, Porro, you mentioned him hanging back. Porro is definitely one of our main progressive passers, and Romero is. Outside of those two, no one really does it. We've got a lot of progressive carries, but you need passes as well. A player can't dribble a team the whole time. But Van de Ven, more carry-based. Spencer Udogie, more carry-based. Bentancur, Bergvall, more carry-based. Palhinha, it's just not really his game. He plays long passes, though, long switches, which I think we'll see more of. But looking at the polar here of the attacking midfield template, Damsgaard had marginally more assists, but had less shot-creating actions, less goal, non-penalty XG, and expected assists and goals. Xavi is very well-rounded, but what sticks out to me is they almost have equal amounts of progressive passes. Xavi is way higher in carries as well. We talked about his roundedness. And Damsgaard was definitely tasked to play like tough passes a lot at Brentford because his pass completion is way low. Simons is completing progressive passes. He's getting assists. He's making progressive carries. He's attempting lots of passes. He's making lots of shot-creating actions, all at the same time with a really high pass completion rate, which is not normal for attacking midfielders necessarily because they are playing the harder passes. So you can totally imagine Xavi Simons being tasked with, look, we need you to drop deep here to help us get the ball forward. And that can be by passing, and that can be running, and that's why we can probably sacrifice having a pure progressive passer in midfield, like Arsenal have Zubimendi now, and because the best ones that can also defend are a premium. There aren't many in world football. Stiller is a great player.
Unbelievably
he can't, and he can't really defend. You're talking 100 million for Wharton, is basically it.
Look at Belieber.
Yeah.
Belieber was like even 100 million. They were like, we're still not going to sell. So, like, that really says it all. If you've got the stats up, I was curious on what Damsgaard's aerials. So I know, what's his name? Morgan Gibbs-White had very good aerials for an attacking midfielder.
Aerials? Oh, you've put me on the spot here to find this.
Oh, so are you taking the stats?
I mean, I do. I do. Aerial duels. I don't think Damsgaard's aerials are going to be very high.
It was just from whenever we were, I mean, it's been a long summer. Whenever we were looking at an attacking midfielder and we were profiling them next to Morgan Gibbs-White, because that was basically like the blueprint for what we thought we were going to be trying to find. Every time I was looking at one, like, for instance, Eze just wasn't...
He's
nothing like him.
He lost 70% of his aerials, Damsgaard. Okay. And Xavi wins 58%.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm wrong. No, I'm wrong. I'm sorry, wrong. I'm reading the percentiles wrong. He's in the 58th percentile, but he loses more than he wins. His percentage of aerials run is 42%, which is better than Damsgaard.
Maybe that part of Morgan Gibbs-White's game wasn't what we were absolutely driving home about.
We've got that in the squad, though. Kudus can take the ball from the sky. Richarlison is a big lad. You've got. I don't know. I think you just hit those two and you're fine. Brennan's not going to do it. I back Tellen Audeber's touch on the left wing to take down a pass, but I don't think it would have been nice, I'm sure. I reckon Morgan Rogers, though, who is another link we've had, who's statistically so different, and this is why I was very dubious with this link that's come up. One, I thought there's no way he's leaving Villa, but he doesn't have any of the progressive passing games whatsoever. He has take-ons and assists. He's clearly a talent, but I was never really convinced by this.
His underlying numbers are pretty poor. The only thing I'd say is, and this is actually probably worth looking at on Damsgaard as well, because I'm not sure what Damsgaard's role was in Brentford in this regard. Was he on free kicks? Because when I was doing a lot of comparisons when I was looking at Eberechi Eze, he is on free kicks, and so much of his stats in terms of shot creating actions were getting skewed by the dead ball compared to the live ball, which is not a bad thing. Obviously, if you're good at free kicks, you're good at free kicks, but you need to compare live to live to really get an understanding of how they play within a team. And I wasn't sure if Damsgaard was their set piece taker.
I'm not sure, but I don't think those are benefits, right? But I do think the reason we've signed Xavi Simons, we've looked at these players, is one, overall quality is why we've looked at your Morgan Gibbs-White, your Xavi Simons, your Eberechi Eze. Eze's got brilliant free kicks, as we know. But I do think the progressive aspect of these players is the main thing, because Eze could do it. Damsgaard did it. Maddison, absolutely. Kulusevski's more Rodgers, whereas Maddison is more of a carrier. Super progressive.
Kulusevski's progressive carries are very, very good. His passes, average.
He's not a dictative. He's not a part he's not there to dictate the game. He's not a creative passer like over long distances and from deep midfield. Around the box, he absolutely is. That pass he got for that for that Solanke chip last season was unbelievable. I can't remember what game it was in, but it was so good. But yeah, direct free kicks is Damsgaard and Lewis Potter. So Damsgaard does take free kicks. Is Simons a free kick taker? Because we have lost Maddison's free kicks. We have Porro's, but I think they're a bit more inconsistent.
I would put a bet saying no. Maybe I'm wrong. I'd put a bet saying no.
I think Raum was their free kick taker.
Yeah, I don't think it was Xavi Simons.
There is a little quick search says he does take free kicks. But creative players love to. They love to take a free kick. Yeah, so if we get one in his first game, I guarantee you he's going to be standing over it. Yeah.
I mean, in fairness, other than Porro, who is... Okay, did anybody else see Heung-min Son's free kick for LAFC?
Yeah, why never really did that for...
Why did we never, ever... He'd always score them for South Korea. Literally every international, oh, wow, look at him go. And then he just wouldn't do them. We'd literally be like, no, you're not touching this. We'd give Harry Kane them. That was fun. Worked out twice. Literally worked out at the beginning of his career and at the end of his Spurs career. Literally he scored 2, I'm pretty sure.
How do you feel about him taking the number 7 shirt? It looks great, but I'm a little bit I don't know. I was like, Carl, can we leave it for a season? Lord, says Kane hit the wall every time.
I will tell you this now. I don't think, outside of the number 26, I don't think there is a single soul at Spurs who cares about who gets a shirt number. Because Harry Kane left and Maddison had it the next day.
Yeah, that was a way...
Vertonghen left.
Kane left so
Vertonghen left and we gave it to Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Like, why did he even take
different,
the fight?
Though. I wouldn't... You can't retire a number like number 7. You can't. But part of me...
We care. The club don't, not at all.
No, probably
when
not.
Have they ever shown any sort of like?
I agree with Kite. 1 to 11, you can't retire 1 to 11. You can't.
No, of course.
But I thought maybe a year. Also, I was hoping we'd get Savinho 7, and I could get that Total 90 Spurs shirt that's a bit like the Brazil Total 90 shirt, and it'd be freaking awesome.
Look, we gave Brian Hill the number 11. That's it.
Hey,
it's clear as day.
A lot of people were going to be mad that Tell got the 11. I'm not, but
I was so glad when he got it. I was like, rip it off of Brian. Take it. I wish they did a video because do you remember when Joe Roden was on loan at
Leeds, probably.
I don't even know where. He was on loan to one of his clubs, and Perisic came in, and he was like, "I want the number 14," and so they made Joe Rodon record a video from loan, being like, "You can have it, mate," and it was just like, "Oh,
Well, they've just done it with Radu, and Radu takes the 3. So.
Oh yeah. But that was him doing the video. They got
Palhinha.
Joe Rodon
Yeah.
to like record himself out on loan, being like, "Yeah, you can have the number, mate. I'll have another one," and then he just took 21, I think it was, or 22, and then we just gave it to Johnson anyway. Like it was, yeah.
Going backtracking a bit, I know you've got to go soon as well, Si, but I likened this Xavi Simons signing a bit to the Ndombele list. I'm likening this window to the Ndombele Lo Celso window and how it felt at the time, not how it ended up.
Yeah.
Not how
it's
it ended
so hard
up.
to remember how it felt.
But
I remember feeling dread straight away.
When we signed those players, when we got Ndombele Lo Celso and Sessegnon was high. Like, oh my god,
Sessegnon broke my heart.
So have respect for our second longest serving player. Yeah, Brian Hill's like our second longest serving player. But Ndombele and Lo Celso, Ndombele, I think, is the great. He had a couple of seasons. We were linked over 2 years. I never thought we'd get him. I never thought we'd get Xavi Simons. The hype of getting Ndombele was nuts. And Lo Celso similarly. I'd not actually heard much about Lo Celso when we signed him, but that they were huge signings, and I give their failure a lot of it to the state of the club over the last 7 years. And Ndombele, yeah, especially so. And Ndombele had his own problems. I think he was way more likely to give up quicker than others, but the situation in the club was awful
when that's going on.
Yeah,
I will say,
but that felt amazing.
So guilty from that. No, I'm sorry, I'm so guilty because I remember it came down to: are we going to get Bruno Fernandes or are we going to get Lo Celso? And I was pushing for Lo Celso.
Really,
I've never been more wrong about a player. I wanted Dybala, and then when that didn't happen, I wanted Lo Celso. And I think I have a bias to Argentinian players.
But we were meant to be getting.
I just think that's it.
Yeah, but Spurs and Argentinian players has always been a bit of a thing.
I just can't help it. I remember even Lavezzi, even when he went to PSG, I still like you.
Yeah.
And everyone was pretty much like, why would you leave?
I think I probably wanted Bruno Fernandes, but it was going to be Dybala and one of those two, Lo Celso. But hey, I argue that there's an interesting conversation to be had about Bruno Fernandes is clearly an incredible player, but the focus on him and the amount he needs to be the hero and the amount he has the ball. So like his percentage of in-game action is the only way I can think of it, is maybe too high. And I've wondered this about players before. It's that sometimes you might have a great player, but they're so involved and they're so going hero ball that actually that in the end they almost become a detriment. This is so intangible. And it's crackpot theory completely, but
I get it, but at the same time, there is, of all the transfers, Bruno Fernandes is one that I lose sleep over that one, because obviously United have been through hell since then, and long may it continue, right?
Yeah.
But he has been the one shining star every season, no matter what. He has just been there. He is their captain. He turns up when they need him. I'd argue he's one of the best ever United captains, and that is ridiculous to say, but it's because he's been the only person who's shown up for that all throughout this entire shit show of just dreadfulness, right? It's just been terrible.
Yeah.
And I really not getting him.
He is a brilliant player. Before we go, Xavi Simons has some pretty well documented, loose points to attitude issues, and I think that's. I don't like it. Apparently, he caused some unrest in the Leipzig dressing room at times. He thought he should be a starter at PSG when he was young, which is obviously a bit bold of him. I like that he backed himself. Hey, he works hard. He presses. I just don't think that it's that worthwhile a conversation right now when he was like a teenage, 12, 13, 14-year-old wonder kid. There were compilations of Xavi Simons when he was a child. And for him to not get so overtaken by that and to actually become the level of professional he is when, let's be real, normally when you have child stars in a sport, entertainment, it swallows them up. Like, Marcus Edwards didn't hit the heights, and there's clips of him when he was 12 as a comparison.
Like he's basically,
I just don't think it's a worthwhile point right now. However, he does seem... I think we had this conversation the other day. I definitely had it with someone. Maybe we don't want to be a stepping stone club, but we need to buy some players that think they could go beyond us. And then hopefully we get enough of them and they can drag us there so they don't need to leave. Just like the Poch team did.
Yeah. We need to stop being scared of signing a player that might be a bit too good for us or has the potential to be too good for us. Because guess what? That's how we actually had that incredible team under Pochettino.
Ericsson, Son.
So don't be wrong.
Wanyama even. Alderweireld.
So I was actually going to liken Alderweireld reminds me, obviously not as a player, when we signed him, it reminds me very much of Bentancur. You know, you were saying about Bentancur earlier. I was like, when we were talking about the level of which you bought him, he'd been at Juventus and he'd done a good job, but like he hadn't really, he wasn't going to start there anymore. Obviously, Alderweireld barely really got the go at Atleti because they just, for some reason,
he was a bit of a young dickhead at the time. Alderweireld, funnily enough, that he was a bit of a party boy and things.
That tracks so hard. And then I mean, I love Alderweireld, but he is an egotistical geezer, 100%.
But he got his head screwed. So, absolute family man though. Love his Antwerp.
Oh no, now
days, yeah.
I think him being next to Jan even more so probably just calmed him down a bit, if I'm honest.
Maybe.
But he was.
Well, Jan was his. Was he his Belgian captain at the time? No, they were both very young.
No, they were too young.
But these were players, right, that we could have looked at to have gone and stepped up. Carl Walker did it. Danny Rose was linked with a better United. Well, I say better. They weren't necessarily. We were pretty on
Dyer
steady
almost
foot.
Went to United.
But Dyer and Rose both nearly went to United. Ericsson was maybe up there with the best number 10s in the
Dele
world.
Alli could have gone anywhere. Dele Alli could have gone to Ram.
Like, we had bought these players. Obviously, buying Dele was a bit different for players that could go take that step. Ericsson absolutely was, but these players were so good, the management was so good, we dragged Spurs up to that level, so they didn't have to think about leaving.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what we can do with Simons.
It was like what Kane said for years. He was like, "I'm happy to stay as long as we're being ambitious." And in fairness, he basically left after like 2 of our least ambitious seasons in a row. And then after that, we started trying to kick back up in again, and I was like, "Well, you've lost him now."
Yeah, we can wrap up here because I know you've stayed on a bit longer than you intended to. I really appreciate it.
It's all right.
I hope you've enjoyed.
Hopefully, my mic worked out for the rest of it.
I think it's not been too bad. We've had another comment that levels are pretty bad. We're working out the kinks. We'll do some more testing. We're sorry about that. This is hopefully something we can do more regularly. Maybe. Who knows? We'll try and have some ideas. If you've got any ideas that you want to hear from us, please let us know. That's a good point. Lord, Diaz begged to leave Liverpool this summer, but not for Real. I think that's more of a change of scenery. But anyway,
I heard. No, I won't say this. Don't worry about it. It was something about Diaz and like part of his exit. I'll talk to you later about it because it's a little bit weird. I'm not sure how true it is.
Leave him wanting. Let's hope for a left winger. Yeah, I mean, hey, look, I'm happy to give Tell and Odeberg a go on the left wing for the next 6 months and see where we're at. However, if we can get someone that's elite, I'm never going to say no.
I want to make a point on that because I agree with that, but it's only 4 months. Everyone says 6 months automatically. Think about it. September, October, November, December. That's it.
True.
Is it worth buying the wrong player for the sake of 4 months? Now, don't get me wrong. If you can get the right player, if you can get like Savinho, 100%. But if you're going to go and get somebody at the last second being like, "Oh, we need a left winger," don't do it.
I agree. I don't think we need a left winger. It would be really nice to have a really high quality, ready to go left winger. But we have.
Don't buy a kid.
No, absolutely not. Well, Savinho's a kid, but he's played.
You know what I mean. Don't buy as good as he is. Don't buy Malik Fofana.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, I agree.
Because Malik Fofana, you're basically going, so you're just going to have another Odeberg, another young player who could do really well.
And let's be real, we've barely seen Odeberg and Tell, and we've definitely not seen them in a cohesive side at all. And they're both young, and I just don't think they can be that bad. once we get going.
We've seen Odegaard at right wing more than we've seen him at left wing. Let me see him.
Yeah.
Let me see this guy.
But if we can
We signed him.
if we can get Savinho and maybe a centre back, we've been linked with the Kanji today. I'd prefer Ake for that left-sided.
I'd prefer Akanji for his passing ability.
Interesting. I just think
If
Ake
you- if
left
you
back
look at
and
his- if you
left
look at
centre back. But
I agree, but I'd rather just play Akanji left centre back if needed.
Dragishin's dusted,
think
isn't
that's
he? Thomas Frank talked about him being
He's
back in 5.
He's back soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's not gonna.
to do what? He's going to make the tea. I don't know what he's doing.
I guess we might play back 3 more often, but then we have so many
Not with
midfielders.
him.
We have a huge
Yeah, with
squad.
Danso.
If we get a left,
Sorry, we need a.
yeah, but you need other options. But we've got so many players. It feels like.
I know it's just because like the two of our highest earners are injured in Jackie and.
That's
Madison.
my. Sorry, I know I said we're
Decky's on the
going.
road.
We said we're going.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is my last question. Do we sign Xavi Simons if Maddison and Kulusevski aren't injured for so long?
No.
I think I agree. Because I'd have been
No, we wouldn't
I'd have been
because-
fine with that this year. And I now think we probably go big for a left winger. Or maybe a different centre mid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think, or you're convinced that Xavi is a left winger, for instance. Like that would be the reason.
Or
But
Kulusevski's going to play a lot off the right sometimes.
hopefully not. I think, forget Madison. I think that we knew how bad Kulusevski's injury was, and we went, no way. We have to get someone in.
Yeah, 'cause
I
we
hope
were
that
linked with 10s while Madison was fit. I think Morgan Gibbs White was going to play 8 sometimes as well. Not all the time because we're going to be flexible. Where this is hard. Where do you rate where Simons can go with us in terms of comparing him to Madison and Kulusevski? Because I think Madison's incredible. I think Kulusevski on his day is incredible.
Madison is one of my favorite players ever to wear a Spurs shirt. And
Wow, bold.
It's amazing though because I have
That's very bold.
I have to argue that point. My dad is sick of him. My dad calls him sick now.
We can do that another day.
And
We can do a focus on Madison, and you can explain that because that's kind of wild to me.
No, I'm not saying he's you've got Gareth Bale, you've got Harry Kane, you've got there are loads of them.
Come
The
on.
one of is
I mean, Madison-
a good old hand.
Madison did help us win a Europa League, and Kane and Bale didn't, I suppose. But do that.
I also think
Where can Simmons go? Can he be better than those two? I think he absolutely can. Will he?
he can be better than Kulusevski for sure. That's only because Kulusevski
He was our best player for a
hasn't
large period
had-
last season.
Yeah, do it for a whole season. That's what I say.
Yeah, without
I
snapping
love
your
him, but do
kneecap
it
in
for a whole
hard.
season. Yeah, I tell you what, I agree to a point. Then even with my dad, like as great as Madison is, the best ability is availability. And
Yeah,
they're
no.
never.
That's what.
None of it.
Hey, we're seeing it with
Look at
Richarlison.
Richarlison.
You can never question. I don't think you can question Richarlison's ability, but you can absolutely question his availability.
Speaking of which, though, with Richarlison, he actually, when you think about when we bought him, he was a big signing as well. He was 25. He'd had 3 consistent years at Everton.
Good ones.
He was good ones. And I think maybe only because we still had Kane, it wasn't like that. But then because now Xavi Simons is coming in where there's a hole, it's a lot higher. But
Yeah.
if you say that last year, everyone's calling me an idiot because they're like, well, Richarlison's dusted. But like at the time, and then he went on to that incredible World Cup where he scored that. I mean, Richarlison World Cup here. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, true. Yeah, after the World Cup, his leg will fall off or something again. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, let's call it. Xavi Simons. What a day. Finally.
What a day.
What relief.
And maybe more.
Maybe more.
Maybe more tomorrow.
Hopefully, someone. We've been on here for
Sunday is basically deadline day, by the way.
We've been on here for a while, so stuff could have gone down. No one's let us know.
Oh
so
yeah, I have
assuming
no
nothing.
idea. No. Yeah.
Cool. That's it from Eyes. That's it from us. Thank you, guys. Do you want to say goodbye, Si?
Thank you guys for listening to me somewhat ramble.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.